All right, what is going? What is happening? How's everyone doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'm giving you guys my Modern Warfare top 5 guns y'all should be using here in Warzone. I haven't done this specific series, the Modern Warfare weapons, in a while, and I got some pretty updated setups here for you guys to go ahead and try out because these Modern Warfare weapons are unbelievably viable and still really good. But before any farther into the video, I want to give a massive shout out to the Naughty Gang that will be featured in a future vid. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, the notifications turned on, comment down below Naughty Gang, and of course, watch the video all the way through. With that being said, let's hop into these setups. All right, so for our first gun here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Kilo 141. This is an OG meta weapon. For those of y'all that have been playing Warzone for a while, you guys know that this gun is like from way back in the day, unbelievably good. Still actually really good nowadays. So let's jump into a build here for you guys that you can run with it. So first thing is gonna be that muzzle mono suppressor. Of course, this is what we're gonna be running on pretty much most of our Modern Warfare weapons. It's just indeed the best suppressor out there. Stay away from the lightweight because you decrease damage range, and you can run the tactical on pretty much any of these MW weapons until you happen to get the mono. That's just kind of how it is. After that barrel section, we're gonna go for the 19.8 Prowler. The only difference between this and the SOCOM 16.6 is that the Prowler does everything the SOCOM barrel does. It just does it better and more of it. So all your damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control is better with the Singard Arms 19.8 Prowler. So just go ahead and run this one exclusively. After that, in the inner barrel section, we're going to throw in the Commando foregrip here. Of course, recoil stabilization, aiming stability. You don't need anything else. It just does not make any sense to run something like the Merc foregrip or really anything else. I mean, this is very easily controllable, so just throw in the Commando. Now in the magazine section, we're gonna go throw in that 60 round magazine. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? I absolutely love the 60. Stay away from that 100 round drum. We're not trying to make this into an LMG. That's gonna chalk your mobility entirely really bad. So just go with the 60, and if you want a little bit more mobility, the 50 is going to be your way to go. But for me, 60 usually speaking is what I'm running. And then for our final option here, we're going to the optics section because that's just kind of natural when you're making a true AR build. We're either going to throw on the VLK 3x optic. That's my option number 1 if you're trying to make this more of a range build. If you're trying to go a little bit more closer quarters, let's say, you know, you're just trying to play this on Rebirth, you know, very medium-ish range, you can throw in the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. And if you want to use something that looks a little bit cooler, in my opinion, than the Corp Combat Hollow Sight, you can go down and throw on the PBX Hollow 7 sight, and that does the same exact thing as the Corp Combat. It just looks a little bit different, and ultimately I think it looks a little bit cooler. So that's my full build here for this thing. Definitely give it a shot. Love the Kilo 141, cool variant as well. Definitely give this gun a try. Okay, so for our second gun, we're going to take a look at the Bison. This actually recently got a massive damage buff. So if you see this around a Warzone a little bit more and you're confused why you're getting killed by it, it's because it got really buffed. So let's give you guys a real banger setup for it so you can use it and dominate Warzone. First thing in here can be obviously the mono. That's what we run. I mean, that's what we always like to do. So mono is going to be what it's going to be. After that, the barrel section, the 8.7 steel, of course, damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. I've been running this pretty much like ever since I've ever unlocked it. It's just because it's the best one out there, so go ahead and run that. In the laser section, we're actually going to go through on the 5MW laser here for hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. The only downside is that it's visible to enemies, which it really doesn't matter. By the time they see it, you're probably taking them out anyways, because the TTK on this thing has been kind of quite a bit increased or decreased, depending on how you look at it. Basically, you take people out faster. So 5MW is what it is. Skipping the magazine section because that you really need that. It's got like a 64 round mag off rip, so we don't need to increase that anymore. I want to go through on stipple grip tape here for aim down sight speed and sprint to fire, which is really good. Apps like that. And then for our last attachment, we're going into the stock section, and you guys can either do one of two things. You can run the no stock attachment, which is my choice, or you can run the Corvus skeleton stock, which is going to be pretty solid as well. It just comes down to like, what would you prefer? For me, it's going to be the no stock attachment, as I had really good success with this, but you guys can definitely try out the Corvus skeleton stock, and that's going to work out great as well. But this is my full build here for this thing. It's the Chuck Walla variant. Got to choose that just because, you know, it's kind of like my variant, you know what I'm saying? But this is a really good gun, buffed like crazy recently. Give it a try. All right, so now we're going to jump into a build here for the ASVAL. This is actually a variant I got saved, so for any of you guys who are wondering about the camo I have on this thing, you literally can't put this on like any of these guns anymore, unfortunately. I don't know why they did that, because, you know, I still have it saved here, but it is what it is. Anyways, let's get into a barrel attachment because this has an integrated suppressor on it. So we're just going to throw on the VLK 200mm OSA barrel. This can really help us out damage range and bullet velocity. Of course, we got to love that. Second in the barrel section, or the underbarrel, my bad, is going to be the Commando foregrip. Though, if you guys want a little bit more aiming stability and you feel like it's going to jump around a little too much at you, I'd recommend the Merc foregrip here because you're not going to be using this as like a primary AR. The ASVAL is just not meant for that in any capacity. So either on the Merc foregrip or the Commando foregrip and you'll be good to go. For me, I choose the Commando. In the magazine section, I mean, it's pretty much like the 30 round mag, or well, it's just that. I mean, you only got the 30 rounds. I was gonna say or nothing at all, but I mean, you only want to use the 30 round. You have to use it. Like, this is a must-use attachment. After that, in the rear grip section, we're going in and throwing stipple grip tape here, ADS and sprint to fire. I mean, real solid attachment. I run stippled on so many different Modern Warfare weapons. It works out great for pretty much every single one of them. And then last but definitely not least, we're going to go throw on a perk here. And that's going to be sleight of hand. And we're throwing on sleight of hand instead of a stock attachment because, I mean, it's only 30 rounds in the magazine. No matter if you're playing solos, duos, you know, trios, quads, you're going to run out of ammo pretty much after about 1 kill. If you get lucky, maybe 2. But I mean, at that point, I mean, you need to be able to reload. You're gonna be out of ammo completely, and that reload's gonna take you quite a while. So sleight of hand's really gonna help us out here. So definitely give this a try. This is a really good gun. It's criminally underrated, but you guys should definitely be giving it a try. All right, let's get into a build here now for our next gun up. Number 4 gun is going to be the Ram 7. Ram 7 is just like, it's real good. It doesn't have like the greatest ability for controller players to be able to hit some super long range shots, but it's overall a really solid weapon. So let's give you guys a build for it. First thing, muzzle, obviously the mono, that's just kind of what it is. Not going to explain that one since I've done it already. Barrel section, we're going to go through on the FSS Ranger. Damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, of course, makes it very easy to be able to hit some longer shots, not super long range, but longer shots, right? Now in the underbarrel section, commando foregrip, of course, just kind of like tried and true as usual. Got to run this thing. In the magazine section, we only have one option here. That's gonna be the 50 round mag. I wish they gave it maybe like a 60 or something else like that. I'd personally like to have a 60, or even in a sense, maybe give it a little more mobility, maybe make it a 40, 45. It'd be cool if there was just another option, basically, is what I'm saying here. So, but you pretty much just have to run a magazine. So this is like non-negotiable right here. Run the 50. And now for our optics section, pretty similar to what we did with the Kilo 141. I'd say that my number one option is not going to be the VLK, though you guys can definitely do this. This works a lot better on like something like Rebirth Island, because obviously, you know, it's that medium-ish range. You're not going to be hitting shots at super long range because Ram's got a bit of that interesting recoil, which is going to make it a bit harder to do that specifically on controller. People that are really expert, you know, level mouse and keyboard players can control this a lot easier. That's why some of it looks crazy. But for me personally, even though I got really good recoil control, I don't prefer to use a VLK on this gun. I prefer to go something like maybe the Corp Combat Hollow sight, or even like the PBX7 Hollow, which I recommended earlier as well, just because it looks really cool. And this is kind of more of like a medium-ish range AR for me. I never really used it at super long range, so definitely go ahead and give this a try, though. I'll just go throw the Corp Combat Hollow sight on here just for the sake of a little bit of diversity. But this is my full build here. Definitely give it a try. Ram 7, very underrated and super, super good. Now, I wanted to throw a bit of a hidden gem in here for our last gun in this top 5, and that's just because the Modern Warfare AUG is one of those guns that people don't really look at, but I mean, it is genuinely really, really good. Like, it competes with the meta, not necessarily in the sake of mobility, but TTK and like usability wise, it's really good. It's just it lacks a tad bit mobility, so that's kind of what can get you. So first thing, muzzle, obviously gonna be the mono. That's what we got to run. Skipping that barrel section, going straight to the laser. We're trying to make this thing very agile, very mobile, and we're gonna be running the 5MW or the TAC laser. Kind of, it's up to you, but for me personally, I go for the 5MW just because this is an SMG, is what I use it as. So we're gonna be using the 5MW on this thing. At that, going to the magazine section, and this is where it comes down. It's very crucial that you guys do this. You either got to run the 30 round NATO or the 60 round NATO. I mean, you cannot run the 32 on this just because that basically chalks the entire usefulness of the gun. The only reason this gun becomes good is when you use these 5.56 NATO rounds. So it's up to you whether you want to deal with a 30 round mag. For me personally, I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, and I just feel like 60 in a gun is better than 30 by a long shot, right? So I'd rather go ahead and run the 60 on this thing. Now, we're going to go for the rear grip section after this, and we're going to go throw on a stipple grip tape here for ADS speed and sprint to fire. This works out very nicely, and I definitely say you guys should give this a try. And now for our stock section, we're actually going to go throw on, what is it, the Forge Tac CQB comb for ADS speed, because this thing is a little bit slow, I'm not going to lie. It says it will decrease your aiming stability a little bit, but don't worry about that too much because you're going to be using this at pretty close range where aiming stability, or the little bit you lose, is not really going to matter. If this is at longer range, of course, would matter a lot more so, and I would not recommend this, but because this is a close range build, this is going to be what I'm going to recommend. This is my full build here on this thing. It's really, really solid, and it will take people out surprisingly fast. Give it a try. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you are brand new, and just run triple cat, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.